So that didn't go to plan, did it? The European campaign was a disaster. We only won twice. And then the ironclad win of the TATO de Portugal, we got knocked out by Tondela. Tondela, by the way, who were fighting relegation. You could argue we got FM'd because they only had 2 shots, but we should have took that one. We should have took that one. And the 6th round is actually the semis. So what an opportunity. Blown. In the league, we've been all right. We've kind of chugged our way through it, but at no point have I felt like we've been absolutely flying. This has led me to our friend, the Data Hub and the Analyst Report. And this time, for once, it's not about where we're conceding goals because we're not conceding that many. Our defence is pretty good. We're just not creating much. So I thought we'd have a look at a new tab today. Now, this tab here is going to help us decide if our formation that we think is working is actually working. So we've clicked that now, and you can see here we've got our formations used down here. So these are all the formations we've used throughout the last 50 matches. And it's going to tell us how successful it has been. So, for example, we are currently using the 4-2-3-1. They call it a 4-5-1 with 2 DMs. And you can see here we've used it 80% of the time, started 45 out of the 50 matches. But you can see, clear-cut chances, we are plus 23 up. So, obviously that means we've had 23 more chances than playing against opposition when using this 4-5-1-2 DM, which is pretty decent, right? But then if we look a little bit further down, you can see here it goes into a bit more detail. So it's got the 23 there, the plus 23, which equates to a chance every 86 minutes. 86 minutes, a chance against every 180. So it's super solid. But my question is a chance every 86 minutes going to win us things? It's solid, but unspectacular. And that is a good summarization of this formation and tactic, I think. It's super solid, but it's not spectacular. And to get to the next level, do we need to think about changing it up? So we're 6th in the league with about 8 matches to go. We've only lost 6 matches, but we were a little bit far away from getting Champions League. That's not in the equation this year, so it's all about keeping in these European places. And again, with the solid and unspectacular theme, we can see we've scored 37 in the 26 matches and only conceded 31. So in a bit, we're going to look at revitalising this tactic and looking into if we can make it a bit more aggressive. So listen, we've got about 8 matches left there, something like that. And I'm going to do what I like to do at the end of the season when there's not much on it. I'm going to experiment with some other tactics. I might try 3 at the back. I'm just going to play around a bit. Getting ready for next season. I just feel like we need to be a bit more aggressive than the safe but solid one we've got at the minute. And oh yes, did we experiment. You can see there's one of the tactics we use, the 3 at the back with a libero. This version as well, bringing back the half-back. You'll notice the inverted wing-backs are on attack. It's safe to say I have not settled on any formation yet for Season 10. I'm still playing around a bit, but it was fun to watch. I have loved having Pellegrini as an option. We've used him sensibly, started about half the matches. He wrapped it up with 24 appearances, 5 goals, an average rating of 7. However, he has decided to retire, and given his physicals are starting to drop, I'm not going to fight that, but a good 1 season hit with him. Similar story with Rafinha. I used him mostly off the bench, but in his 11 or so matches, he gave us 4 assists. He just comes on. He's got a little bit of class about him. It was good to see after a really slow start, our boy Ferreira managed to bag 20 goals again this season. 16 in the league, 2nd top scorer overall. So he's still got it. Yes, mad little season, mad little season. It kind of staled out at one point when we got knocked out of that semi-final of the Cup, and that's when we started experimenting and kind of wrote the season off. But we still finished 5th and finished strongly. So on to Season 10. You may remember this. The stadium got expanded, giving us an extra 2,000 seats for 10,900. Well, out of the blue, they've decided they're going to do it again and chuck in another near 3,000 seats to make the stadium even bigger. I mean, I'm not mad at it, but what I am kind of mad at is next season's transfer budget. The wage budget's gone up a little bit, which is good. The transfer budget is 2.2. Now, given the fact that we make these lot a load of money, we could have done with a bit more, but it's not a disaster. And finances have remained healthy throughout, so we don't lose money every season now. Sponsorship, TV money, top division stuff, all helps. So it's off-season time. I'm right in the middle of thinking about what we're doing for next season. I thought it was worth revisiting our Gegen squad view to see how suitable the team actually are. Now, looking at it just straight away like that, it looks like we are decent at it. We are set up pretty well for a Gegen approach if we want to stick to it. There's not many people who can't deal with it. In fact, some of them absolutely excel in it. You're looking at work rate across the top, teamwork, stamina, natural fitness, decisions, bravery, anticipation, and a little cheeky bit of acceleration. Those are just mine. You might have a different take on it, but those are mine. There's the squad Gegen view there. It's in the description as well if you want to give it a little go. But judging the team, we are still decently set up for that approach if we want to use it, which is good because I hadn't checked it in a couple of seasons. So, to plan. Now, this is our team. That's the super solid one. We're probably going to work off that because I feel like we need to keep it because it does perform well against the big teams at times. They didn't beat us that many times this season, just that Benfica game, and we weren't using this tactic. So, I want to make an aggressive version of that. I don't think that starting 11 needs a lot of work. I'm only going to improve someone if someone jaw-dropping becomes available in the off-season. For now, I'm pretty happy with that starting 11. But I think it's time to get deep into pre-season with transfers, the new tactic, any other techniques for scouting we're going to do. Let's get into it, eh? Pre-season was rudely interrupted by RB Leipzig offering us a job. Nope. And then Aston Villa offered us a job as well. That's arguably the biggest job offer we've had yet. All right, scratch that. This is the biggest offer we've had yet. Spain want us to be the national coach. Although tempting, I'm going to say no. In a bid to freshen things up a bit, I'm a strong believer in rotating around your staff. So Marcelino, he loves a hard tackle, but for me, it's time to go. A few of them are out of contract as well, so we're going to get rid and freshen things up. So welcome in new assistant manager, Luis Boamorte. Now, not only is he a nice fella, but look at his people management, he's motivating, I like it. I've also improved my coaching staff by bringing in Ilkay Gundogan. You can't tell me that he's not going to help some of my players. First off the bad news, Donnelly, our keeper, since Breno left us, has gone. He's gone back to Brazilian football. He's joined America for 3.8 million. You can see there, we bought him for $7,000. But he's gone back to Brazilian football. Couldn't really turn it down. And he was kicking up a bit of a fuss. So he is out of here. And looking at the transfers out, you can see we brought in about £5 million from that player sale and a heap of loans as well. We're getting like Chelsea here with like a loan farm. But more interesting is the players in. We've spent 650,000, which is about as much as I want to spend this off-season. And we brought in a load of players, mostly from some big teams, a few free transfers as well. Now, we raided Sporting Lisbon twice, and this is the man we've spent a bit of money on. 450,000. Gabriel Silva can play up front, just off the striker. Like him. How about Virgil Dorsberg from Feyenoord? Centre-back who can play right across the back line. Free transfer. Now, Radek Vitek is came in initially as a backup, but then we sold Donnelly, so he might get pushed to first choice if we can't find another. Alizu, initially on loan from Fluminense in Brazil, option to buy for 5 million. Look what stands out on him. Flair, agility, could be something special. As always, I like to bring in a little bit of experience as well for an incredibly young squad. He's not quite a Galactico, I would say, but Sofian Amrabat in central midfield with a little hint of left back as well. Free transfer, wages aren't crazy at all at 4,000 a week. Bit of a no-brainer. Now, there is one sign in there near the bottom, Pedro Maria Alonso. You can see him there. Now, it's a free transfer. I want to show you where I got him from. And, I mean, wait till you see him. Right, here he is. This is Pedro Maria Alonso. His physicals are off the chain for a 21-year-old. He's got acceleration and agility of 19. He's a 6-foot left wing back. If you look at his former teams up here, you can see it's Man City, and he had a little loan spell at Girona. So how the heck did we get him? Right, so you go to Around the World tab and Leagues in Focus, then you've got all your big leagues or whatever leagues you've got loaded up. And the big leagues is what we're going to focus on. So you could go somewhere like the Bundesliga, for example, and you go to transfers. And this is what I did with Pedro from Man City. Once you go to transfers, you'll see all transfers here. You'll drop this down and go to released players. And this is a big, long list of all the players released by the teams in that division. So all the big teams here, and this is how we got Pedro. I was just scrolling down and I noticed, I went to Man City and I saw their players and I just looked at them. I was like, right, who's been released here? You can see there's a few players here that look pretty decent. Ropnak, for example, released by Dortmund's probably second team. There he is. He's available now, so I can make a bid for him. And that's basically the way I got Pedro Alonso. We've started the season pretty good. Pre-season was pretty solid, tried a few things, and the Conference League qualifying has gone really well, and we've won our first game in the league. Now, setup-wise, that's the one we're used to. That's what we used last season, but we've gone away from it. We've kept elements of it, but we have gone away from it and gone a bit more expressive, and we've moved to this. This is what I'm using so far, and it's largely due to our new complete wing-back, Alonso, just because he's that good going forward. I didn't want to restrict him by him being an inverted wing-back on defend. So I thought, let's expose it down here. I've also asked the big man, Big Dick, to move into an advanced playmaker role. I think he can do it. If you'll have a look here at his playmaking attributes, he's got them all. He's just a really good ball-winning midfielder as well, but I want him to get a bit more expressive. So I've moved him forward, and that signing of Amrabat has helped that. So Capellas moves over one. Regista goes that way. We've still got an inverted wing back on one side. Bamba's still chilling down the right-hand side, but it's a new asymmetric version of our tactic. Squad's decent, it's quite bulky, and they all seem to fit in with the work rate I'm asking of them. So no problems there. In the league, we've started well. We've won 2 out of 2, and this includes, ladies and gents, the best performance I've had in charge of Salgueiros.